This video has been funded in part by the Guild via Patreon. Check out the links in the description or at the end of this video for more details. Game provided by PCube.
Hello everyone, my name is Chris Gildart and welcome to another Pros vs. Cons mini review. It's not often I get to cover tactical JRPGs on this channel for some reason. The majority of what I tend to review are more traditional JRPGs like the Atelier series, or action games like Dynasty Warriors. Tactics games have always been in my life though, and I always find it's such a difficult genre to really make fun. Just because you carry over the usual mechanics doesn't necessarily mean you're guaranteed a decent game. You need to keep things exciting with animations and story in order for someone whose brain is riddled with ADHD like me to continue to play. So today, thanks to PCube, I'm going to be taking a look at Tears of Avia. Avia? I honestly don't know how it's pronounced. I'm sorry if I'm not doing it right. But overall, this game looks pretty decent off the top. I'm not expecting much, but a decent tactical JRPG at least. Anyways, let's get into the review. Alright, ready, set,
Pros.
Visuals tend to be the first thing that I notice in a game, and I never really expect the highest of quality from smaller games like this. That being said, the character design is on point. Each character is instantly recognizable and have unique features that differentiate them. I struggled to choose a character at the beginning because they all looked so cool. But don't worry, if you struggle like I did, you can unlock all these characters anyways throughout the story. Speaking of the story, it is kind of intriguing. Nothing groundbreaking, but it still makes me want to play through to see what's going on. I picked the ranger character, and she mostly lives off on her own in the woods, but visits villages to stock up on supplies every now and then. Upon visiting this time, there are zombies attacking the villagers. You save one and go down to the catacombs to clear it out. When you finish off the last of them, you find a jewel that turns out to be a tear. These tears are powerful artifacts that are well sought after by a demon who looks to wreak havoc on the world. You must travel around with your party to locate these tears before they do. Like I said, a band of would-be heroes in search of magical MacGuffins isn't really anything new, but I always like the adventure. Something that helps with the adventure and keeping the menial things interesting is the voice acting. Yes, this is fully voice acted in Japanese. Now, I know I usually put this into a con for not having English voices, but I didn't expect voices at all. This brings an extra layer of quality to the overall feel of the game. Plus, when you have Japanese voices mixed with the stylized visuals like this, I feel like I'm playing a game based off of an anime. There are quite a few anime tropes and character reaction portraits that will keep you engaged as the game goes on. And I guess there's one thing that I should mention, and that's the gameplay mechanics. This is your standard tactical JRPG through and through. Each character has HP and MP. When their HP is reduced to 0, they die. And if you're playing on the harder difficulty, they die permanently, similar to games like Fire Emblem. Each move uses MP and some have cooldowns on top of that. You can also damage allies if they're in the way, so you have to make sure to keep an eye out for your own units. As well, something that I found interesting and added a bit more strategy in my opinion was the fact that you can't move one unit through another of your own. So it makes you think about who you're moving first. So if a specific path is 2 squares in width and you have 2 characters blocking that path, you can't move another one of your characters past them. Again, I think this adds an extra layer of strategy to the movement. Finally, I feel like I mentioned these sort of things with many smaller sized games, and that's the stage stars that you might see in a lot of mobile games. This sort of thing always makes me want to keep coming back and replaying these stages to see if I can get those stars. One thing that makes it even better with this game is the RPG mechanics. Since you have levels and experience, you can grind out to get up to those higher levels while also aiming for the 3 stars on every stage. It's definitely something that keeps me coming back and playing more. Anyways, that's all the positives I have for the moment. Now it's time for the wrath of the cons! I know earlier I mentioned the character portraits as a pro, but I do have to say that the overall visuals do not match the anime style portraits that I do really like. This almost feels like a generic Gauntlet clone, especially when you're running around the towns. It's so drastic of a change from the anime style portraits to this Western style in-game graphics. On top of that, I know I said that this game really gave me the feeling of an anime game because of the Japanese voices, but I am a little disappointed that we didn't get any English dub. I know these things are super expensive, especially for a non-AAA company, but when I wasn't expecting voice acting at all, it is just a slight disappointment that I didn't hear any English. Now, one One big thing that really hit me hard was the fact that with JRPGs, I am always struggling to find that first save point starting out. I started playing this on a night where I had to get up really early the next day, but I couldn't find a freaking save point. I played for nearly an hour, and that's kind of where I realized that I had been a complete idiot. This game automatically saves. I know this con is more on me, but I had to mention this so that you could all laugh at me for this. Yeah, I'm still kind of salty. The final thing that I'll mention is that this game is extremely slow. Combat moves at a snail's pace and really drags on. Remember how I said that it took me nearly an hour to find out that this game has an autosave? Well, I only went through maybe the first 3 stages. Usually completing 3 stages in a tactical JRPG in just under an hour is pretty fast, but these are the first 3 stages, which are essentially the tutorial. As you go on, these stages continue to be pretty quick for tactical JRPG standards, so the tutorial stages nearly taking an hour is pretty sluggish. In the end, Tears of Avia is pretty middle of the road. The story is pretty interesting and the combat mechanics are pretty standard for tactical JRPGs. The Japanese voice acting and character portraits really give it the feel of an anime, but the in-game graphics are pretty dull and the actual gameplay is pretty slow. It really depends on what you're looking for in a game, and that's why I give Tears of Avia a meh. I'll likely come back to this eventually, but the main thing that forces this into a meh is the overall pace of the gameplay. I always loved tactical JRPGs, so I can take a slow gameplay when it comes to this, but the animations are also not the greatest at times, and I don't usually like skipping animations in these games, but I was really tempted to do that with this. It's difficult to recommend at times because it has so much potential and it doesn't deliver on it. Anyways, everyone, thank you so much for watching my review of Tears of Avia. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe for more. Don't forget to leave a comment as well with your thoughts on the game and the video. If you'd like to help support the channel even further, you can join the Guild, like these awesome people that you're seeing on screen right now. You can join them at the end of every single video for just $1 a month. There's other rewards and other tiers as well, so check out the links that you see on screen, and I will see you all down in the comments.